I call this meeting to order of the Lincoln County Board of Education meeting in regular session on Tuesday, October the 3rd, and it's 7 p.m. and we are at the county office. At this time, I'm going to ask Board Member Dana Snyder to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we are all here except for Dr. Burns, and she is on her way, I'm told. So we'll go ahead with the meeting and she'll take part when she gets here. We have a section for public comment. We have Ms. Heather Gillenwater from Griffithsville here to address the board. Ms. Gillenwater, would you like to come to the podium, please? One of the things that we're bound by under the public comment section is that we can't speak to anything that's not on the agenda. If we don't comment, don't take that as a reflection one way or the other on what you say. But we will be listening, and go to the office and get a slip before you come to class.
Well, there was nobody down here. He was up here.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Good to have you.
Been at
And
the hospital.
Dr. Burns is now here with us and we're participating. Go ahead, Ms. Gillenwater. You have 5 minutes to.
So the reason why I wanted to comment today and bring attention, which I think some of you already know, is that I received a very disturbing text message from my daughter today that had told me that she was unable or not allowed to participate in the college fair. And the reason was she was considered chronically absent. However, those were all doctor excuses. Some were part of the day, and she, had really only missed one full day. Well, I was very upset about this because this is your college fair, this is your future, so I reached out to the school. The first response I get was someone reading to me the handbook saying, well, you state, you signed this. I'm like, yes, I signed it, but this is actually, this is her career. So, so then I call, and I end up getting an email from the counselor. The counselor emails me and says, I'm sorry, this is just the policy. So then I talked to the principal, and the principal said, starts telling me the statistics, the whole 10%. I'm sorry, she missed 4 days, but really 3 of them. She had a dentist appointment, she had a doctor's appointment, she had a therapy appointment, and then she was sick. So she had, appointments, she had doctor's notes. To me, I'm thinking they're excused. So I'm thinking she can attend this function, which should be available to all children, regardless of days attended, regardless of even what their GPA is at that point. However, my daughter, she has a 3.8 GPA. She's in the band. She's never been in trouble, never been chronically absent. So I was very concerned at this point. So thankfully, after I talked to the principal, then I get a call from Mr. Barnett, and he agrees that something needs to change. So I'm not sure if this has been implemented for all students. I hope that it will get done so that nobody else has to go through this. But I also feel that anytime, a student has an excuse or they have to leave for a doctor's appointment, that should be actually excused and not counted against them. That, if they want to walk at graduation, if they want to attend prom or any other educational function, they should be able to do that. I know prom is considered, extracurricular, but still if a student, has proved that, they haven't caused problems, they're there regularly, but they have an appointment that they have to go to, I just don't think that it's fair for the student and just for the kids in general. So, my whole purpose was just, for these students who, who try hard, they work hard, and yet they're being punished because of something out of their control, because they have to go to the dentist or, they have to go to a doctor's appointment or an eye doctor's appointment, which happens during the school day. So that's my concern. I'm really hoping you guys can, try to work through that, do what you can to help the students, because really that's why we're here. We're here for the students. We're here to support them, to support their education, to encourage them, and to help them with the rules that we make. Not try to hinder them or, cause problems, so. I know you can't comment, but.
All right, thank you, Ms.
Thank
Gilwater.
you.
Not commenting on what Ms. Gilwater said, but, Mr. Barnett and I talked today and we, I think all matters were resolved. That it was a misinterpretation of what we're trying to do, I think. So Mr. Barnett has all that straightened out, I think, so. Thank you, Mr. Barnett. Appreciate that. Okay, approve the minutes of the September 28th meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Wilson? Second,
I'll second. I'll second.
Burns seconds.
Another public,
No, we skipped step number
oh,
three.
another a presentation first.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you.
It's all right.
Well, while we already got that out of line, let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? None. Now, Mr. Frank Barnett, Superintendent of the
All right.
schools.
I'm gonna talk a little bit about something this evening that I'm not necessarily asking for a vote this evening, but if you feel so if you feel the move to do so.
You're on the agenda.
We have, right now, it's really hard for us to hire and maintain quality career tech education teachers. Part of the reason for that is they're not eligible for the plus hours that regular classroom teachers are. For example, they can't get a plus 15 or a plus 30 or a plus 45. Once they come into their salary, they're there. Unless they get the yearly increment that the state provides, or, if somebody here hits the lottery and we're able to provide
Do they automatically get that state increment?
they do what, like every other teacher
Yes,
does.
okay.
But if they take coursework, they're required to take 18 hours of coursework.
But it doesn't bump them up
Doesn't
to
bump them up.
a plus 15, a plus 30,
does
plus
not.
45.
That's correct. What I instituted in Cabell County to help combat this was, once they completed all their coursework, all their hours to gain their teacher certification and provided us with a contract, I bumped their salary $1,500. Essentially what that does, it pays for the last course and the future courses that they have to take to keep renewal. So that's just something to think about. I just wanted to bring to the board's attention, while we're here, because, when you look at, let's use a welding teacher, for example. Most of these guys who come in from a CTE, they come in from out of industry, they are looking at probably close to a $35,000 pay cut
Mhm.
to come into the teaching profession. And sometimes it's really hard for me to say, look, I know you made $105,000 last year as a pipe welder, but how'd you like to come to work for me for 43? So, that's a hard sell. So we're looking at probably $1,500. We're looking at about $15,000 over the course of the next few years if we grandfather them in and provide.
Each year, right?
Yes. So now there is a little bit of advantage that CTE teachers get. I don't want anybody leaving here not thinking that when they start, whereas art teacher starts at a bachelor's in year 0, a CTE teacher starts at the salary schedule of a bachelor's in 6 years.
Mhm.
Because they come out of industry most of the time with 15, 20, 25 years of work experience in order to get the position. So just wanted to give you that information.
For my clarifications, if we hire someone as an electrician to teach electricity over there at school, and they have 15 years in the public sector, do we give them credit for those 15
We
years?
give credit for 6.
Six of them.
Six.
That's the maximum we can get
Correct.
credit
That's the
for.
maximum we can
Then
give.
it started.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer as well.
Yes.
It's a big bummer.
And to
It
extend that
is.
further, if we hire an electrician for our county maintenance
Maintenance.
department, do we give them credit for their years working out in the industry?
I think so. Yeah, if they're a journeyman, we do. We said they get started on a different level.
Okay, so they get it, but the teachers don't.
That's accurate.
And that's state level policy.
That's correct.
Yes, it's not Lincoln County.
The counties have the latitude to do something like I mentioned.
Right. So we have permission from them to do it. They just aren't gonna do it at the
That's
state
correct.
level.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. What does the board think about giving, Mr. Barnett, the approval so he could write something up and we can get it
I'll
on
make
the
a
agenda
motion.
next week?
Mr. Bell,
Well,
since this is not an administrative item, Robin's telling me.
We can't vote
Right.
on.
no, no, we're not gonna vote on it
Oh,
tonight.
okay.
I'm asking
We're asking him to
I
write
think we need to do
something.
that,
Yeah.
that, do you all
Yes, we do.
be in agreement to direct Mr. Barnett to have something on the agenda for next week?
But would we
can
not
vote
have
on
to
it?
put that on review for a while for everybody to review that
No.
prior to putting it on the board
That
minutes?
wouldn't be a review.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure we were doing it the right way.
No, all we're doing is amending a salary schedule.
Okay,
So you can go ahead and plan on putting that on the agenda for next week.
Thank you.
Okay, brings us to administrative items. Because Mr. Snyder sits on the board of directors at Lincoln Primary Care, he will not be voting on item A, but we don't want to scan him off from all the other items in the administrative agenda. So
there you go.
I would like to have a motion and a second to separate item A from the administrative items.
I'll
Wilson makes
second.
the motion,
I'll second.
Burns second. All in favor to separate, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. All right, since we separated it, let's just go ahead and vote on it as there is. I'd like to motion a second to approve the letter of agreement for the Lincoln County Primary Care Center.
I'll second.
Pistori makes the motion. Burns seconds. All those in favor of approving this item, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining?
Stay.
Mr. Snyder abstains. Okay. That takes us on to all the other items in the administrative section. Is there any discussion? If there is no discussion, I'll ask for a motion in a second to approve the administrative items B through E.
So moved.
Snyder,
I will second.
Burns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes unanimously. Brings us to the finance section. Schedule of invoices totaling nearly 85,000. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve the finance items.
So moved.
Pistori motions,
Second.
Wilson seconds. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And none. Brings us to the personnel section of the agenda, which is the blue sheet. Is there any discussion? If no discussion, I'll ask for a motion and a second to approve the personnel items.
So moved.
Wilson makes the motion,
Second.
Snyder seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, unanimous. Brings us to item 8, comments and concerns, and we have, as we always do, a section for the Duval/Midway school update. Mr. Barnett.
I contacted Greg Martin this week and he is coming to do a presentation on the 18th meeting.
October 18th.
October
Yeah, this,
18th.
this, yes, on the October 18th meeting. I indicated to him that I wanted him to be here to not to get secondhand knowledge or anybody listening get secondhand knowledge from me. I want him to tell you himself
Okay.
where we are and what's going on.
So do we need to maybe say something about this publicly so that the parents and the teachers and the employees can also come and listen to the update?
I can put something on our
Okay,
page.
good.
I'd be glad to.
Good.
And then the last thing that I had to mention is that it's not a concern, it's actually a good thing. Dr. Porter's CTE program at Guyan Valley Middle School was recently, or just this past week, awarded a $26,000 grant from TC Energy to work on her CTE programs.
Great.
I'm very proud of that.
Yeah,
And if any of you care to look, if you're the Facebook people, if you look on West Virginia Simulated Workplace page, I've been posting things that our CTE programs are doing on that page. So that goes out statewide to all of the CTE folks that are out there looking around. It's West Virginia Simulated Workplace.
That's great. I've noticed that Hamlin has had something, the Hamlin PKA. It does my heart good to see the CTE down in those middle schools. Not having that Duval Midway School completed prevents us from using this building to expand their high school curriculum. So we're anxious to get that project done at Midway.
I've talked to the folks at the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation. They're very excited about this proposal. I'm asking them to fund a culinary teacher for 2 years at the high school. And what that culinary teacher will do, once those students from the CTE programs get into the culinary program, we can use those students to peer mentor the students who are currently running the county table.
yeah.
And so that way that they can actually come out of there with some certifications such as Serve Safe, the OSHA certifications. And West Virginia welcomes all the tourism certifications. Those kids can come out of there career ready.
When
So-
do you think that might start from?
I can't even write the grant until next year. I'm
Okay,
just
so
talking. that-
Just
that money
kind of
is-
getting everything
Right,
ready.
getting everything lined up. so
And then
that-
when you write the grant next year, when will be the dates that the state will,
If they give us
award them?
approval right away this summer, we can post something this summer.
okay,
Yeah, I just got a couple of things I want to commend the administration and particularly Austin Lucas. I went to the ball game over here Friday night. The bleachers are all done. A big crowd. Most of those 1,000-seat bleachers were
Were
full,
full.
just a spot here and there.
there was no place to
250-seat
park.
bleacher
There
was
was
down
absolutely no place to park.
And,
Got there early.
it,
Well, early is not good for me right now.
I think probably was what was on the hillside and around the fence, there were probably close to 2,000 people
Well,
there.
I think there's more
That
than that,
was,
David.
that was good. And of course, we still have requests in to complete that facility. There's a request sitting on the governor's desk right now, pardon me, for about $2 million to complete that facility. I don't know that we'll get all of the 2 million. I feel rather confident that we're going to get something.
Is
But,
there a timeline, Dave, on when we know
the
something?
timelines when the governor gets to it.
I hope he gets to
we're-
it soon.
We're asking him for money. We're not going to ask him to speed up.
When does he run again? So we.
So, I'm confident, we've got people that, in the political circles, state level is helping us out with this, and Coach Pruitt, Marshall University has been helping us out. So, I feel like that's all going to come together. And,
It opens up so many opportunities for our kids, not just athletically. I'm a former band director. I know you know that. I talked to Kim and David Cook, and we were talking about, there are no band competitions around here that are just for small bands.
Mhm.
And that would be something they could do there and, have a beautiful facility in which to do that. It just, it just opens up a whole different, puts us on a whole different level with what we can offer these kids.
well, we have a great relationship with Armstrong. I don't know what their title is, Armstrong,
Neighborhood channel.
what's where they are.
That's what I was getting ready to, I was gonna piggyback off of what you were saying and saying that Armstrong deserves a plug for the work that they do.
With our students in our schools, absolutely.
But Armstrong does a great job for us. Lincoln Primary Care,
That's,
is a huge supporter of ours. We've got several things in the works, that carry over from the Lions Field to the high school. It's all not done yet, but it's getting close to being done and agreed upon.
But it's working for our
I'm
kids
just
right now.
excited about all of this. This is,
And if we build 100% of our long-range plans, it still has nothing to do with the activity of the state board association giving us money for Duval. And I hope
Yeah.
everybody understands that.
Yeah.
As frustrating as it
It's
is.
kind of out of our hands and into theirs.
well, the
Exactly.
state's coming up with 90% of the funding, so they have 100% of the, decision.
Decision making.
So, but I'm pleased with the direction that we're going there. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, Frank, Mr. Barnett mentioned the band director, and I too was in the band. I was percussion in the band. But back in our day at Guy Valley, you know, you had junior high, 7th through 12th. We didn't have middle school. And I'd like to see more involvement with our middle schools, even participating, maybe not necessarily band competitions, but on Friday
Friday
nights,
nights.
just getting, because our band is kind of small,
Oh,
you know, something to enforce growing the band.
I think they do that, or later on in the season, once these kids are, right now, I mean, Mr. Davis and I living here, and I remember my days as a beginning band director, and the first thing you want to say is who's beating that cat? But, you know, but as they progress, you know, you'll hear a huge difference between what the, you know, how the kids start and how they end up toward the end of the year. And I think they do involve those students more as they're ready to step up to that level. So,
Well, like I said, in junior high, you can march even with the high school
Yeah.
band, so.
do our band directors go to the middle schools? Mr. and Ms. Cook go there and have a class for the middle school? What grade?
well, no, they don't, we have band directors in middle school.
Okay, do they ever work together?
Absolutely.
Well, it would seem that,
We
You know,
pay
those
them for
kids-
band camp every year.
yeah, well, I know that,
And they have a
but that's
very-
one
They
thing.
have a very good program of feeder schools. That's why our high school is one of the reasons, not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons why our high school band is so well, because they do have good feeder schools.
Well, I can tell you that the DeHavens are out with them every Friday night and about every evening, aren't they, Mr. Davis?
Every evening, they're.
Two of our band directors.
Are students in the 7th and 8th grade not interested to go into the LCHS band?
They do. Their kids now are pulled in so incredibly amount of different directions. You know, when I was a band director 100 years ago at Hurricane High School, I had 150 kids in the band. But, you know, they weren't pulled in as many directions as they are now, you know, and let's call the facts. A lot of kids here have to be employed.
Yeah.
To make things happen.
I know we used to in the high schools, if we were 7 through 12, they worked and were in the
Another
band.
thing you got
Yeah.
too, is our student population is way down.
Yeah, it
They
is,
used-
but
they
we
had a
have
season.
some.
They had a season for sports. Now it's travel ball all year round.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to play baseball, you can play it 365 days a year. Same thing for basketball.
we've got fall ball going on.
And we've opened up more opportunities like for soccer and wrestling and tennis and golf and all those.
Hey, it's great.
Yeah, it is
It's
phenomenal.
great.
Yeah.
We may not have big numbers in any particular sport, but lots of kids are getting to do something.
Getting a chance.
That's great.
Just one more for me, couple points of clarification, just for me personally. On attendance, is there a difference between a absence and an excused absence?
As far as the school goes, yes, there is. I mean, an excused absence won't hit you on the truancy part of things or a medical excuse. However, when the state looks at chronically absent, it's 10% regardless, excused, unexcused, it's 10%.
So right now, we've had
Former attendance director right here.
we've had 33 days of school. So if you've got 3 absences of any kind.
Right.
You're considered chronically absent.
Right.
But in just when we hit 40 days, you would be moved out of the chronic if you don't miss any days. So if you only have 3 at 40 days of school, you're not chronically absent anymore. So as long as you stay below that 10%, if you,
18 days.
at the end of the year, it's 18 days.
Mhm.
So if you miss
So
18
it's
days,
really
you're,
every-
by the
every
state
section.
tells you that you are chronically absent.
And just to give you a little bit of idea, we had, we had roughly 50% of our students considered chronically absent last year.
With 3 days.
No, with 18.
Yeah,
At least
I think at the high school, we were just a little above 50%.
Let's
chronically
face
absent,
reality.
Meaning.
We had that
our
same
kids
problem
just
with
18
staff.
days or
Oh,
more.
We
well,
absolutely
yes,
did,
we
yeah.
do.
That's why we gave an incentive. We have the same problem with staff.
Maybe we ought to look at incentives, maybe not so much materially as maybe in some kind of an honor kind of thing for our 7 through 12 people to have less than that. Just look at something like that.
Well, this goes back to kind of what I've been arguing for. I don't know that I really want the credit for any of that, but I've always said, what's the difference between an excused absence and an unexcused absence? Because you've missed the same day of instruction regardless of the reason. If the instruction is what's important, then you gotta treat them both the same.
And with chronic absenteeism, they are treated the same.
Yeah,
I will tell you.
yeah, that's why I say it. That's kind of goes back and reinforces what I've been saying. But, hopefully, it'll all get straightened out toward the end.
Well, Mr. Davis and I have tasked Mr. Hoover with, at each school, creating attendance teams. And the attendance teams that'll be part of their situation is to address, absenteeism and come up with incentive ideas and things like that to try to help students, get to school more.
If
Kind
the
of
bus doesn't run, how's that treated?
That is called a calamity. That's that, if the bus doesn't run, that's.
What if you live in an area where the bus just doesn't go to your house?
Uh,
Because I've had that situation where we live out of road, the bus doesn't come.
Yeah, cut that-
Hey, transportation,
I mean, I've never gotten that,
well, you have to apply for it.
but then, that's a whole nother issue too. If you have a child who is now, I mean, they're getting up, getting themselves ready, going to school, getting their brother ready. And then they had only one tardiness, had a lunch detention, and then wasn't allowed to be on the National Honor Society
because of that.
because that one time, there's no bus that gets to our house. There's, nobody.
Nobody
for
to
her.
take her.
She drives herself because I had to get her to get her license because I work.
Mhm.
And by the time my kids are awake,
You're
my
gone.
husband and I are out the door.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think there's just a lot of loopholes and things that aren't fair. And it should be looked at a case by case situation. I mean, she shouldn't have been denied National Honor Society because of one lunch detention. Because the fact that she was late because she had to get her brother and bring him here before she went to high school.
do you mind sharing with me what year that was?
That was last year. And she's always had a high GPA, definitely National Honor Society worthy, but was denied that because of this one rule. I mean, and that's the whole, reason why I want to speak is because I think these rules are intended to help, but sometimes they're actually really hurting the students. Because it's not, you're just looking at statistics and overall and not case by case situations.
Is she gonna be eligible or want to join the,
I mean, she
Honor
wanted
Society?
to, but now, I mean, I guess she's considered chronically absent.
That
She's
was
had
for last
4
year
days.
and she's still gonna be considered chronically
Well,
absent?
and-
I know, this past-
In 5 more days, she'll no longer be considered chronically.
I was gonna say, it'll run out pretty soon, surely it ought to, and she can, look at,
I mean,
how
she
many,
could
now what's the
reapply, but
exact
she's
date
not-
that'll run out on
not
her?
right.
10%.
10%, okay,
Well, my kids are late every day because of the bus,
not because of them.
not because of them, because of the bus, and they still get targets.
Somehow we need to look at
The
that.
bus comes in.
We need,
It's not right.
no, we need to look at that.
There's a bus pass with the paper bus.
Where do your children attend school?
Kelsey,
Do the bus drivers not know they
They
need
have a
to?
pink pad bus pass.
And-
Actually, that sometimes they know that the bus comes in late, they'll just make an announcement, we just allow those students in and not
I
not
live
count
in
them
the
already.
Miracle Mountain. They pick them up at 7:30 or 7:35 every morning.
Have you actually gotten a notification that she's been, or your child, he
Yes.
or she has been counted tardy?
Yep, all 4 of them.
At
Have they,
different schools?
No, they're all at FC.
What bus is it?
have they received any kind of discipline referrals for that? No discipline referrals? So when I say, I'm asking these questions, I don't know.
They just call me, say they're tardy.
Okay, is it a robocall?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So how, and I
All
call
right.
back and I'm like, how are they tardy when it's the bus?
Okay, so what happens is they're not being counted tardy, actually. It's when they go in and they enter it into the system, when the teacher will enter tardy if they're not in the room, but then the secretary, when they go in and hand their slip to the secretary, she goes in and fixes it. But by the time the system pulls that tardy, it
It's
makes the phone call.
The phone call's already been made.
So,
Okay.
Might be a good thing to call the school and see exactly on the
Just
record,
make sure.
just exactly how many times your kids have been tardy.
Yeah.
and it may say 0 on there, because
Yeah.
the secretary, once they get that pink pass, they change them.
Or it might sell.
If any,
Right.
Well, congratulations,
No, then we fix it.
Then we need to look at
Then
something.
we fix it.
hopefully.
Oh, yeah, that's not something that's set in stone.
So,
If it's.
what's your child's name, man?
Gracie Atkins, well, she goes by Gracie, it's Elizabeth Atkins, Toby Yeager, Jonathan Yeager, and Abigail Yeager. You know,
I know.
Toby. I'm sorry, my ears don't work as quick.
Toby Yeager, Abigail Yeager, and Jonathan
Abigail.
Yeager,
Jonathan.
and Elizabeth, well, she goes by Gracie.
And they're all at LCHS.
okay. Do we have any other concerns from the board? If not, our next meeting will be this coming Friday at 9:30 a.m. for a work session on more policies.
Looking forward to it.
So, I think something told me we're doing instructional policies. Is that right? What are we doing on Friday, Rob?
It's a variety.
It's variety of ones.
Friday, okay.
Robin's got it.
So 9:30 Friday is our next meeting. Do I have a motion and a second to adjourn?
So moved.
I'm sorry, who said that? Wilson?
Wilson,
Wilson, the story seconds, beat Dana Snyder this time.
Gotta be quick.
You're off.
And the time
he's off
is
the mark.
7:35.
He's got jet lag.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye. Any opposed? None. This meeting is adjourned.
So, you still have, we just pulled up in your office.